Welcome to Forest.chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vandermeer, and in today's episode, we'll be talking with Rodney Glossop about starting a social running club. Rodney has spent 25 years in the health and fitness business and has recently started a social running club. Welcome to the Forest.chat podcast, Rodney.
Yeah, thanks so much, Paul. Appreciate the invitation to come along to Forest.chat and obviously have a chat about Wooshes Warriors Social Running Club. I have been listening to a few of your podcasts, but also some other podcasts, really quite new to the whole podcast idea. So I'm looking forward to both having a chat and seeing how it all works.
Thank you, Rodney. It's great to have you here and to hear that you're listening regularly. That's very encouraging from my side as well. Rodney, there are all sorts of types of clubs around the place. You mentioned Wooshes Warriors Social Running Club. What is that?
Yeah, it's a running club that I started back in 2019. It started because we were doing parkrun and I wanted to encourage people to get involved and really look at trying to inspire people but also motivate people, get them to come along to parkrun and celebrate the milestones. So that's how it started, but it's become bigger and better than I ever expected in terms of engaging so many people. And essentially it's a community. So whilst it is a running club, it's definitely all about the community and bringing people together.
Having been a part of that club myself for a little while, you also do awards?
Yes, we do have annual awards to recognise the contributions, but particularly the achievements of the participants or our members throughout the year. And it's really just to try and encourage, inspire, motivate them to challenge themselves. But it's also about what they contribute to the club. So there's a range of different awards. So as an example, there's a community award. So it's not just about what you're achieving through your running, but also how you are supporting the other members of the club.
That's one of the things that is attractive to me about the Wooshes Warriors Social Running Club is the actual the range of things that you're trying to achieve through the club.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, I knew early on how important the social element was and bringing the community together. I guess at the time when I started it, I didn't realise the impact that we could have and also how much I enjoyed bringing people together. I look back now and see I've always enjoyed that element and providing a sense of belonging and giving people a friendly, safe environment that they can come along to and engage with other people. So we don't really focus on the running element. It's more about being part of that community.
And that goes for some of the challenges that you do along the way?
Yes, I particularly love coming up with new challenges. And as I said, it's not necessarily about the running. And we're not the typical running club where we have group runs. It's more about I set up challenges that you can do at any time of the week, any time of the day. And a lot of them have a particular connection to parkrun, but not all the time. And we do have members right across Australia. So as you can imagine, it's not about bringing that group together for a run, as I said, which most traditional running clubs would do. It's about creating these challenges, but the challenges are also trying to encourage people to get active, but also be active with someone else. So a lot of the challenges, it might be some examples I've had a sibling challenge, a partner challenge, we did a faction carnival challenge, and they're all setting little challenges for people to do during the week, and you can either earn points for your faction or earn points for your team, trying to get people to get out and be active for a range of different things and different ways.
Sounds like we'll have a lot to talk about when we get to the meaning question. In the meantime, what does it take you to lead a social running club?
It takes passion, and I'm very passionate about it. It takes a lot of organisation, a lot of structure. Yeah, I guess it does take a bit of creativity, the way I have created the different challenges that you can do without physically being all together for a run. And yeah, clearly I enjoy it. So have loved being able to come up with different ways of inspiring people to get active and involved.
We often see when like results are coming out that you must have been burning some of the midnight oil.
Yes, so it does. It can be quite time consuming, and I have to be careful making sure that I balance the time that I work on putting this together and also doing other things in my life. But as I said before, I enjoy it so much. It's not work for me. It's just a hobby that I enjoy doing. In particular, when we have some of those challenges. So one of the most unique challenges that we have is the Ultimate Warrior Challenge, and everyone has until 9 p.m. to submit their activity. So it does take quite a bit of time to calculate the distances that they ran. And if I go a little bit more detail about that particular challenge, it's quite a unique one where people can defeat others, where they take 5Ks off an opponent, or they can complete tasks that give them victories where they get bonus Ks. So there's a bit of calculation involved, and it can keep me up quite late trying to work out everyone's new totals. And some people like to leave it to the last minute where they submit their entries. So yeah, a few late nights, but as I said, it certainly creates a lot of banter and a lot of fun and enjoyment for everyone, and not just myself. So I look forward to particularly those park runs when those activities or challenges are happening, where we can talk for up to an hour afterwards about what's been going on during the week, and everyone either submitting those defeats or claiming those victories. It's quite fun to see how it all plays out.
And can you just round out a little bit more about that particular challenge? Like, what are the competitors aiming to achieve?
Yeah, so that challenge is the first warrior to clock up 100 Ks. But the difference is, as I mentioned, you can give people defeats, so you can take Ks off them, or you can claim victories for certain tasks. So each week I provide a range of different tasks that you can do. Some of them might be drawing GPS art, either drawing a particular picture or writing someone's name. It could be a challenge where you spell someone's name with street signs and the first letter of each street sign and have to spell that name. So there's these challenges that you complete that can either get you a victory or a defeat to use. So it's not as simple as just going out for a 100K run. And it's also quite strategic, because if you go out too hard too early and you get to the top of the leaderboard, you're pretty quick to have that target on your back, and everyone's going to deduct Ks off you. So you might be, we've seen it. So we've been running it now this is our 5th year, and you saw there's a clear favourite who was sitting on top of the ladder and looked like they were going to finish the challenge. And the next thing you know, they've been deducted 30 Ks that day. So they finished the day with less Ks than they started.
Oh, wow. So it's a strategy game, and it's also I would say a creative game.
Yes, yeah, very much strategic. As I said, you don't want to be on the top of the leaderboard early in the week. You might want to try and sneak up, let's say. So the winner this time around clearly, I think, came from 5th position to take it out on the last day, because I guess other people didn't see them as that real threat for that final day, but they clocked up 32 Ks on that particular day to take out the win just in time, just before the 9 o'clock deadline for submitting your distance. So it was a truly remarkable win.
Fantastic. And there's a bit of creativity going into all of those different challenges. Where does that come from?
That's a really good question. It's usually I do my best thinking while I'm running. It's when I always come up with other ideas. So as I said, there's a range of different challenges that I've been able to create, and just try and make it fun, and also trying to look for different ways to get other people involved. So it's not necessarily, and I guess all the challenges try and relate to different people in different ways. So we have twice a year we do the traditional handicap run, where it's about trying to run your PB 5K. But it's also trying to get those people, and we have a lot of walkers involved in the club as well. So it's about how can I encourage people that might not be running or even walking frequently, how can I get them involved in the challenge? And what things can I do that will excite other people? So that's where coming up with those challenges. It could be a scavenger hunt where you're taking photos while you're out on your run and collecting different things. So it's not always about completing that 5K or 10K.
And do you harvest ideas from other clubs and things that you've seen?
Yeah, not so much most of the challenges. I guess I have collected a couple of different ideas from running clubs. So we run with Masters Athletics WA on a Sunday, and they had a regular handicap event, and that's based on your average times and your fast times. So I came up with a handicap run, which was based on your parkrun PB, and we do 2 events a year, one being your calendar PB to make it, I guess, really fair for everyone to be involved about how well you're running right now. And then there's another one that we do based on your all-time PB. And so you're really capturing what everyone's potential is. And I guess I got that idea from Masters. But a lot of the other challenges I come up with have really been just ideas from, as I said, when I'm out for a run and try and think of other ways to engage people.
And what about the keeping the community together? Where does that strength come from?
I guess now in reflection, I can see that I've had that particular passion for a long time. And I even think back to high school when I organised a couple of basketball competitions and trying to bring the community together, not just through those who are participating, but also through the spectators. And we had it was a staff versus students competition. And I guess I've been able to do that as well when I started working at Curtin University, and I started a interdepartmental staff competition. And I realised how quickly provided that sense of belonging and how proud people were of working at Curtin University and being able to participate in this competition, which had a social and friendly element to it, so it wasn't so competitive. And then you got to know other people that were working at a big campus. You got to know people that were working through all different areas of the university. And when we have an event at the end of the year to bring it all together, and you realise you've engaged 1,500 staff members across the year, and how powerful that is, and that you know so many people. At the time, I thought I was just doing my job and trying to create a sporting competition. But then when I found parkrun and fell in love with how parkrun brings that community together, I realised I had such a passion for doing that, and also had an ability to bring people together and create that sense of belonging. And something like with Social Running Club, it's great to see the members so proud of the club that they want a shirt that they can wear and show people that they're part of that running club.
That's quite a good thing to be able to do. And clearly that's about how you communicate with and interact with people.
Yeah, we talk about parkrun as it's not about the 5K run. It's usually about the socialising and the community aspect afterwards. And I'm always fascinated to see how people will spend more time having a chat than it actually took them to complete parkrun. And that's what it's about. So yeah, I love motivating and inspiring people, but at the end of the day, it's about bringing people together. And I've met so many wonderful people through parkrun, and obviously I would never have had this opportunity. And meeting yourself and Caroline, that wouldn't have come about if I didn't get involved in parkrun to the extent that I have. It took me a long time to actually do my first volunteer at parkrun, because I was volunteering through football and as a football coach for the last 17 years. And running was, I was quite selfish, and I thought, oh, this is my time, and I wasn't volunteering. But then once I did volunteer and got to know other people, I realised how much I enjoyed that. And so it's great being able to provide that same opportunity to other people. And as I said, bringing that community together and giving people the opportunity to socialise, interact, meet new people. It's starting a parkrun in my local area and talking to people that have either never been down to that park. They might have lived there for 20 years and it's the first time they've been down there, or even they haven't engaged with other people in the community. They've kept to themselves. So being able to provide that opportunity is just so rewarding, and I get so much out of it, both from a personal perspective, but also just seeing the connections other people make.
You're really starting to get into the meaning of what you've been doing. So let's have a short break and discuss that in a bit more detail after the break. We've had a look at what it takes to start a social running club. Rodney, what does it mean to you, your family, or the community?
I think it's really important that we provide opportunities for people to come together. I've been fortunate to, change my career path and now work for Act, Belong, Commit, which is all about providing ways to improve or maintain your mental health. So I've always been big on providing opportunities for people to be physically active, and we know the importance of being physically active. And now I have a better understanding of what it takes and the importance of being mentally active and mentally healthy. And I didn't realise the full impact that providing opportunities for people to socialise, providing those opportunities for people to be part of a community, and the benefits that that has on your mental health and well-being. So not only for myself, but obviously for my family and for my friends, and being able to provide those opportunities and really provide meaning, purpose, has been so beneficial for so many people.
I remember looking back at some of the photographs that I've seen of places around Perth from the 1800s, 1900s, that sort of thing. And I used to look at those photos and go, wow, there are so many people in those photos. And then for a long time, even when I went to those locations, I really did not see that there were very many people there at all. So there seemed to be like a massive reduction in the number of people actually showing up. That seems to have been turning around a bit lately. Maybe it's because I go to the park when parkrun is on. But have you noticed over time a change in the need for people to get together?
Yes, definitely. I think it's with technology, obviously has its positives and negatives, and it's provided different ways that it improves people's way of life or doing things, and to the point where there probably hasn't been the same ability to connect, and people are self-sufficient and doing a lot of things at home. But I think one thing we learnt out of COVID was the importance of connecting with others and maintaining those connections. And I often talk about this at work, where we were quite lucky compared to the rest of Australia and no doubt the world, but we still did experience a couple of those mini lockdowns and what it was like to have that isolation. And whilst I consider myself even luckier, the fact that I have a large family and we still had our own little nucleus at home and were able to connect, I did feel for those that didn't have those connections and perhaps were living by themselves. So we realised how important it was to maintain those connections and using technology to either have face-to-face conversations on the phone or on your computer. And we've been able to utilise some of those. We continue, particularly at work. We have a lot of Teams meetings now where we're still meeting people face-to-face. But that really highlighted that importance of connection. And I have seen that people they're a lot more, encouraged and motivated to get outside in particular and to interact with other people. And I know that for some people that can be intimidating. There can be some barriers. So it's about how do you create those welcoming environments to make people feel comfortable about interacting, perhaps with larger groups or coming down to, as we said before, parkrun. What things can you do to make people feel welcome and encouraged to be able to take that step to come to where there's big groups. When I started the social running club, it was a great way to bring family and friends together and provide some really meaningful connections. And also, as I said, the original reason I started it was to get people active. And I know the importance of being physically active and physically fit. So I saw it as a great motivation. And when you see other friends and family participating And you see the fun that we had. So we'd get right behind milestone events and do dress-ups and have cake and do a breakfast, whether it was down at Canning River or different parkruns that we went to. So it was almost like a party each time, like a birthday party. And sometimes they're the only times that you'd bring that family together. So it was my way of being able to bring the family together and not always have to be an event. So it could be bringing the family together through a challenge and connecting them. So I love seeing my family involved and also my immediate family. So to see my children be able to participate, it's what it's all about. So that's actually why I got into parkrun. I played footy up until I was 30, and it was all about a team sport, and I love being involved in team sport. I never particularly liked going for a run. I always saw it as quite isolating and very individual. Whereas now I've got a totally different perspective on what running means, and that it can be a team event or a whole community. So there's nothing better than going out for a group run. So we started parkrun because I saw a couple of friends take their kids down. So Crystal and I, when we first started, would take turns running with our two youngest, Ruby and Shaylee, and to see their excitement and to see how much they enjoyed getting out in nature. And it was a bit of obviously to start with, it was a majority of walking and then slowly increasing the running element, and to see how much they enjoyed improving and being able to run further. But we tried not to make it too serious. It was all about having fun. And, at times, I remember taking the girls made up some binoculars with toilet rolls and going on parkrun, and we're trying to find the different birds in the trees because it was all about having that fun. And that's where we talked about the milestones. So we'd always make a big deal about someone's milestone. And one of our favourite memories is when you were doing your milestone for photographer. I think it was 250 times that you'd been photographer or volunteering. And I know photography is obviously a passion of yours. And we created a mask. So we were all wearing pool masks and waiting for you to see us with these masks on was a lot of fun on that particular morning, and to try and get your attention when you were busy running around taking photos of everybody else. And we couldn't wait to see your reaction when you saw the 7 Pauls, big and small, running around. I certainly love getting the family involved, and I guess I'm always looking for that way to keep improving and keep adapting and keep providing those challenges and keep getting people involved.
And I really appreciated when I eventually, because it took quite some time before I realised that you were actually there, and then you all had the masks on.
It did. You turned around a couple of times and we thought, yeah. And then you sort of like just went off to the side. You obviously saw another photo opportunity, and the mask kept going up and then going down and going up and going down. But then I know that the girls in particular had a lot of fun running parkrun holding these masks up. Yes, that was good fun.
It was very good fun. We've had a talk about what it means to you, your family and the community, Rodney. Let's have a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about how you actually set up a social running club. So, Rodney, there are many different types of clubs around the place, and you have experience with setting up more than just a social running club. If someone wanted to actually take on that challenge of setting up a social running club, or what are the steps that they would do to do that?
Yeah, the way I created the club initially was through parkrun. They provide the opportunity for people to create a club that you can join. And that was a way for me to see everyone who was participating and to see your particular result. And what I've maintained, I continued to capture people's results to provide that further encouragement and motivation. Then I created a page on Facebook and inviting people to be part of that page. So the way I consider the two elements is if they join the page, they're seen as someone that's interested, and I encourage them to then join the club through the more official channel of becoming a member of Whoosh's Warriors through Parkrun Club.
So effectively you saw the opportunity and then you used I'll call it the phenomenon of parkrun to arrange the people, because you didn't technically arrange them. You basically just had some way of seeing that they were actually there and doing something, and then you were able to communicate to them through social media.
Yeah, that's right. And the reason that being an official member through the parkrun was so important is because it was all, if you remember what I was saying before about the reason I established the club, was to try and recognise milestone events. So I was trying to capture how many parkruns that people had done and what their PB was, because the other thing that I do, I like to give people a shout out for when they've achieved a PB. So for those who might not be familiar with running, so PB is your personal best. So when you've done your personal best parkrun, and I also have a warrior of the week, so who has provided the performance of the week. And so a lot of that data is captured through parkrun, and it just makes it a little bit easier for me to capture that information. And whilst I'll still maintain a spreadsheet which collects people, how many different parkruns people have done and what their times have been. Yeah, a lot of the information comes through parkrun.
So if someone was to do what you've done, you're effectively, how do you get onto the parkrun list of clubs?
Yeah, so that's pretty straightforward. You can create a new club through parkrun. You do have to send them an email and they will establish that, and then it becomes one of those ones that people can select in their profile. So either when you're signing up or registering for parkrun for the very first time, you do have the option to select the club. You don't have to, but you can. Or if you have already participated at parkrun, you just go into your parkrun profile and then select the club that you want to be a part of. And parkrun's also now allows you to join multiple clubs. So initially you could only join one club, but you can now join multiple clubs. So for example, I could join the Masters Running Club if I wanted to as a secondary club, or as I said, multiple clubs.
So they've got a system there to gather people together, and then you can see their accumulated reports. I'll say they're like an event report, but it's related specifically to your club members.
Yeah, that's right. So for the particular Saturday, so for today, this afternoon, I can go into the any results, click on Whoosh's Warriors, and it'll give me a list of all the people that have participated for this morning at parkrun and what their times were. And that's where I share that information every Sunday to our members. And also during the week, I'll look at who had the best performance and look at different ways that I can, again, inspire and motivate people throughout the week. One of the great things about, I guess, getting started with parkrun and being that 5Ks, and I know for a lot of people, 5Ks was a major challenge and then a major achievement when they were able to run their very first 5Ks. What I've seen through the club now is we have members doing their first ultra marathon. I never would have expected that when I started the club. Like I said, it was all about getting people active, and if that was to complete a 5K run, well, that was just the ultimate goal. And now to see people doing their first marathon, or the first half marathon, first ultra marathon, it's truly incredible. But to see, it's not just about me now inspiring and encouraging and motivating those people and feeling so good myself that they've been able to do that. It's the entire community of Whoosh's Warriors getting behind them and encouraging them to achieve those things. It's been quite phenomenal, and certainly not what I expected or not what I set out to do when I started the club.
It's really amazing when you see things go even further than you thought that they would.
Yeah, definitely.
It gives you a really good feeling. And then you also set up, I'll call it merchandise, so you had some shirts and that sort of thing that people could show that, when they're out and about on the run, and shows up in photos, that people are part of Whoosh's Warriors as well.
What probably motivated me to come up with the shirts is I saw some other running clubs that had shirts, and I thought, this is a really good way of providing that sense of belonging. And I mentioned before how proud people, the members are, and they wanted to show other people that they were Whoosh's Warriors. And that would happen when I'd get other people approach me wanting to join the club, and they might have heard about it through a friend of a friend, or through some a member of the club. And so I thought it's a really good way of seeing, in particular, if you're going to a different park run, and it's a great way of being able to approach another member of the club and having a chat and bringing people together again. And I've seen that across Perth when members would go and do a different park run to their normal park run and go and have a chat to another warrior because they stood out in their warrior's top. Yeah, so it was also a good way of providing that identity. I chose the yellow colour. One of the reasons was, in particular, it stands out when you're doing one of these events. So when you are running like we said, we had more members doing a half marathon or a marathon. By wearing the warrior's top, they feel part of that club, and they get that encouragement from other members who are going down there to support. And it's easier to stand out in that yellow top versus everyone wearing the same, I guess, typical or standard coloured shirts. The yellow definitely stands out.
It sure does. I even this morning at parkrun, I noted the bottom of the shirt poking out from below a very thick jacket. So that person I didn't realise was a member of Whooshes. And so that started the conversation.
Yeah, no, I've just started, we created a Warriors on Tour top for when we went over to Brisbane. So we went to Brisbane earlier this year, and we had 11 members come over. So we doubled it up, not just through the Brisbane Running Festival, but also did Zilmere Parkrun, so ticked the Z off our alphabet challenge, and we created these tops that had on the back, you would have noticed on the back there, what happens on tour. So I don't have to finish that sentence, but that just create a bit of a laugh. And if I can give you a bit more insight about the tops and also the name of Whooshes Warriors, so people will often ask, so who's Whoosher? And that came about through, I mentioned before that I played footy, and my hero was John Worsfold, and I wore number 24. And towards the end of my career, played a lot more backline, and I got the nickname Whoosher. And so when I started the running club, that was one of the bigger decisions about what do I call it. And we were just weekend warriors is what we, I guess, started to call ourselves. And when I put that word out about trying to get other people involved, and I was doing a lot of the work, and I thought Whooshes Warriors sounded quite good, and I guess really emphasised and made sure that it was about social running club and not a serious running club, and tried to provide that friendly side of things. And so that's why a lot of the colours and the image that we've used, it's really I guess about my history and all about me trying to establish the club and get people involved.
They're all things that you need to think about when you put something new together.
Yeah, the logo was difficult. So how do you capture people's attention? The name, it's all as you say, all very important elements, and I guess you don't think about it at the time. I was very passionate about trying to get something established, just to try and provide a little bit more, what would I say, not so much professionalism, but just to give people that confidence about joining a club. That helps when you've got an official name, when you've got a logo or a shirt. It just provides a bit more credibility, and it's easier to get people on board. So as I said, you don't necessarily think about it at the time. I was just passionate about getting it established and trying to get more people involved and into the club. We might have had 20 members and they were all family and friends, and slowly building, and we're up to over 150 members now. So when you reflect on it, you realise what an important decision it is, and how that's obviously helped us get to where we are now.
Yeah, and so it's grown quite a lot in the last probably 2 years.
Yeah, it definitely has. And I guess the more, it probably did have a spike once we got the shirts made, and then people would see the shirt and then ask about it or look us up to find out how they could join and what it was all about. And I guess most people would initially have that conversation with any member that was wearing it. And obviously we're a very social group, and we're trying to get other people to join. And so they would explain what it's all about. And people are welcome to join up if it's what they're looking for. If they're looking for a bit more motivation and inspiration to get more active and perhaps challenge themselves, definitely a good club to join.
Sounds like an entirely worthwhile endeavour, Rodney. Thank you very much, Rodney, for being on the Forest.chat podcast. And from all Forest.chat podcast listeners, we wish you best with your future endeavours.
Absolute pleasure, Paul. Thanks so much again for the invitation to be on the podcast. I have enjoyed it, and I wish you all the best as well with all the other people that you've got lined up to interview, and I look forward to what you've got coming up.
Thank you very much. Yes, there's some good variety coming up. Thank you, Rodney. You've been listening to Forest.chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vandermeer, and in today's episode we talked with Rodney Glossop about starting Wooshes Warriors Social Running Club. Remember, there are 4 ways you can get involved with Forest.chat. Share the domain Forest.chat with your friends and family and people you meet. Listen to the published episodes at forest.chat/episodes. Book an interview at forest.chat/interview. Book an advert at forest.chat/advert. I'm looking forward to joining you with our next interview. Until next time, enjoy making it happen.